I may be one of the only defenders of this movie at the end of the day, and you know what? If that's the case, that's okay. I take that stance, that take to my grave, and I hold on to it proudly. Welcome back to Movies Are So Back, the YouTube movie review channel where I, Ethan Simmie, ask the question, are movies so back? Today, I am talking about Here, the latest movie from the most inconsistent director that you know, yes, Robert Zemeckis. Here is a generational, multi-million-year story about families and the places that families occupy, and the love, the loss, the grief, the hope that comes with those physical spaces. There's essentially no other setting for this movie. It is one corner of the world, a corner of the world that eventually becomes a home. There is no camera movement, really. It is a static shot. So essentially, for 1 hour and 44 minutes, we are watching a static corner of the world. We travel from the dinosaur age to the Stone Age, from the American Revolution to the Vietnam War, all the way up to modern day from this one corner of the world. And I know it sounds gimmicky, and it is gimmicky, but it's kind of something really special too. Now, Here is a big deal, not only because it is a static location movie, which is interesting to some and annoying to others, but definitely something that is fascinating to say the least, but it is the reunion of the Forrest Gump team. Forrest Gump, bad movie. I just want to put that out there. It's a terrible film. It is the reunion of the Forrest Gump team. That would be Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, of course, director Robert Zemeckis, and his co-screenwriter of Eric Roth. They're all coming back for Here. And yeah, it's something. Now, is Here a great movie? No, absolutely not. Is Here a good movie? I don't know. I don't even know if it's a good movie, but it is an effective movie. And sometimes that's all that matters. Sometimes all that matters is that a movie makes you feel something, right? At the end of the day, isn't that the point of watching movies, is to feel something? And for me, Here made me feel a lot of things. Now, I'm not going to spoil Here in case you haven't seen it, but I will say that it's not all praise from my side. I think the movie is extremely gimmicky and schlocky, and the use of the single angle and corner of the world gets a little tiring for sure, and it's pretty convoluted. It's pretty confusing, and the narrative really spirals out of control when Robert Zemeckis tries to introduce so many key anchor points of families throughout different generations and how those tie into this one space. It gets to be a little overbearing. The movie is extremely sincere, to a fault for sure. But that's kind of where I waver back to the really good side of things, is that I bought into the sincerity. I bought into the authenticity, and I bought into just the pure hopefulness and hopelessness, honestly, of time that Here was selling. And I ended up becoming a fan. I may be one of the only defenders of this movie at the end of the day. And you know what? If that's the case, that's okay. I take that stance, that take to my grave, and I hold on to it proudly, because Here unlocked something that I think a lot of movies try to do, especially movies that narrativize time and the passing of time, and not all of them are able to unlock that secret code of authenticity to bring down the barriers of your heart and realize just how fucking cruel time can really be. The main narrative of the movie between Richard, who is played by Tom Hanks, and Margaret, who is played by Robin Wright, is extremely effective, and I think it works really, really well. Now, I mentioned the movie goes outside of that main narrative to kind of close the loop on this idea that time never stops. It is just an ever-flowing river of time in this one space in the world. And Robert Zemeckis does that by using families to anchor point moments in time, and not all of those little short insights into those families and those periods of time work. I actually think most of them don't work, but at the end of the day, they are effective in kind of closing the loop on why we should care about Richard and Margaret and their time and their evolution as a family in this space. What is so fascinating to me about Here is that it is able to sincerely and effectively convey the deep, innate changes in how families interact, how individuals cope with the future, the foreseeable future, the unforeseeable future, and how all of that just differs from generation to generation. It really is a pretty interesting generational narrative, and how, as time passes, us as a human culture learn to deal with things differently as we garner more technology, as we garner more things in our life, more ability to appropriately communicate based on societal standards and relationships between men, women, families, children. It is really something that I think Eric Roth and Robert Zemeckis get right about the script, is that while it is sincere and really on the nose sometimes about how time is so cruel and how its passing can really impact you in a negative way, that works because the movie is being so sincere as well, and they kind of link up. And it's a little bit of magic. At so many points in this movie, I found myself crying. And I know that I'm just a sucker for movies that talk about time. And I am just fearfully, every single second of my life, scared that time is passing me by and that I will never do what I want to do. And that's kind of the main focus of this story, is that some of the characters never achieve their dreams. They never set forth on a path towards self-fulfillment because of how cruel time is and how it warrants and necessitates survival instead of absolute growth, which to me is really interesting, and I just fall for it every single time. There are events that happen in this movie, like family members becoming terminally ill or major milestone birthday parties, that are used as these kind of anchor points into Richard and Margaret's life and how time never ceases. I actually think that Tom Hanks is pretty good in this movie, and I'm quite cold on him as an actor. I think he is maybe not that great of an actor, but I love him as ultra sincere / old Tom Hanks, and that's how we get him for most of this movie, so I really liked it. I actually don't like Robin Wright as an actor. I don't think she's very good. She's just not my speed. She is like surprisingly adequate in this film, and most of her major moments worked on me, and I'm a little bit mad because I didn't want them to work. I went in thinking this is not going to work on me, and they did, so kudos to her. I also want to give a shout out to Paul Bettany, who plays Richard's father of Al, and there's a major narrative that surrounds him that I think is incredibly effective. He is acting in a different movie, for sure. But the other movie that he's acting in is kind of like a masterpiece drama. And while it doesn't fit with here whatsoever, it works in its own little bubble kind of a way. And I really bought into it, and I really liked it. And I thought it was a really great ability to showcase how individuals cope with how detrimental time can be to their life. The movie is gimmicky and weird and authentic and heartfelt. And you know what? It might not be for a lot of people. In fact, it's probably for very few people. But I am one of those very few people, and I really liked the movie here. Perhaps the film is just a right movie at the right time kind of situation for me as a 30-year-old who is constantly worried about the impending doom of passing time, and someone who is striving every day to achieve their dream while also trying to be the best father, spouse, and person that they can be. That's essentially what this movie is all about, and it found me at a very vulnerable spot in my life, and that could be part of the reason that it is so effective on me. And you know what? I respect the movie for that. It found me, and it won me over. So are movies so back? No, they're not.
It's over.
Because I went to this movie on a Saturday night on opening weekend at a 7:15 show, and it was me and two other people. And the two other people were just an older couple, and they sat 2 seats away from me. We had the whole theater, and they were just like, "No, we're gonna sit right next to you." So I expect this movie fully to bomb at the box office. There's no way that movies are back, but you know what is back? My existential dread and fear that my life will amount to nothing. So that's great. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also find me on Letterboxd if you're interested in any of my other movie reviews or takes. I'll see you in the next video.